Okay, so picture this. It's like 2 a.m., you're lying awake, mind racing, anxiety just spiraling, and you're wishing you had someone to talk to, right? Or maybe you've thought about therapy, but then you see the cost or figure out the time commitment, and it just feels impossible. We're living in this super digital age, and yeah, mental health support is technically right there on our phones and apps, but honestly, finding ones that actually work. It feels like finding a needle in a haystack. So today on the deep dive, what we're trying to do is cut through all that confusion. We want to give you a shortcut, basically, help you navigate this huge world of mental health apps and figure out which ones are genuinely effective, backed by actual science, not just slick ads. And the numbers are kind of wild when you look at it. This market, it's expected to hit over $11 billion by 2030. Huge. But the reality, according to studies, only about 3, maybe 4% of these apps are truly evidence-based, just a tiny fraction.
That 3 to 4%, yeah, that's a really critical number. And it kind of sets the stage for why we need to talk about this properly. Because, when you look at the bigger picture, you see why these apps matter so much right now. Life today is just fast, noisy, digitally overwhelming. Keeping your mental health in check takes real, conscious effort. It's like organizing your mental space is just as vital as tidying your house, maybe more so. And then the pandemic hit, and everything just, amplified. Rates of anxiety, depression, they soared everywhere. Plus, you still got the old barriers to traditional therapy. It's expensive, it takes time. Sometimes you just can't find a therapist with openings, so lots of people can't get the help they need through the usual routes. And that gap, that's where these apps could really step in. There was this Michigan medicine study, actually, that gives a pretty good answer here. They found that using evidence-based apps, specifically while people were waiting for an appointment, led to actual measurable drops in depression, anxiety, even suicidality. Dr. Adam Horowitz from the University of Michigan put it nicely. He said, having this type of option could be very valuable when providers have long wait lists, especially for people already motivated enough to seek help.
Right. So, okay, what does this mean for you listening? Well, in this deep dive, we're going to unpack the key things you absolutely need to look for, the non-negotiables in a good evidence-based mental health app. And then, we'll get into the specifics. We'll look closely at 8 different apps that really seem to stand out based on the research and results. With all this noise, though, where does someone even start? Like, how do you tell the marketing fluff from the actual science when you're looking at an app? What's the absolute first thing?
Okay, the bedrock, the foundation is what we call clinical validation. Basically, this just means the app isn't only a neat idea, it needs proof. So, published peer-reviewed research studies showing it works. Or maybe it was developed directly with leading mental health experts. It's the science saying, yes, this actually helps.
Clinical validation, got it. That makes sense. But okay, beyond the science, what about our data, our personal info? How big a deal is privacy here?
Oh, it's absolutely paramount. You have to look closely at their privacy policies. You need to be really clear on how they're storing your data, how they're using it, who sees it, especially sensitive mental health stuff. And just as important, honestly, is the user experience. Look, the most scientifically perfect app is useless if it's frustrating to navigate or confusing, or you just can't figure out how to fit it into your day. It has to feel, intuitive.
And what about the cost? How should we approach that?
Yeah, of cost transparency, that's crucial. Watch out for those free trials that suddenly roll into pricey subscriptions without much warning. Always understand exactly what you're paying for. Good apps should lay out their pricing clearly right up front.
Makes sense. And since we are talking about mental health, what about safety? Like if someone's really struggling, what should a good app offer?
That's a really important point. Reputable apps should always provide clear ways to access emergency support or crisis resources. They should never, ever suggest they're a replacement for 911 or a crisis hotline. And one more thing, mental health understanding evolves, right? So good apps need to be regularly updated. They should reflect the latest science, the current best practices.
Okay. That gives us a really solid checklist. Now let's get into the specifics, the standouts. We've looked at a whole bunch of options, checked the latest research, and we've landed on 8 apps that seem to really hit the mark on evidence, user experience, and, getting results. So first one, Wobot. This is an AI chatbot, right? What makes it effective for daily check-ins?
Right. Wobot uses AI to deliver cognitive behavioral therapy. That's CBT, a very common goal-focused therapy approach. But it does it through short, kind of friendly chats. What's really compelling, I think, is how it makes these CBT ideas feel more accessible, less intimidating than maybe a formal therapy session. You can dip in for these little micro moments during your day. It's got this FDA breakthrough device designation, which is a big deal, specifically for helping with postpartum depression. And there are multiple proper studies, randomized controlled trials showing it works. Like Stanford University found students using Wobot for just 2 weeks had significant drops in depression symptoms compared to students who didn't use it.
Okay, interesting. 2 weeks is pretty fast. Next up, Headspace. A lot of people know this one for meditation. What makes it stand out beyond just guided meditations?
Headspace is really invested in research. They partner with major universities, and there are like over 65 peer-reviewed studies. These studies show actual improvements, less stress, less anxiety, better focus, better sleep. So it's not just here's a meditation, it's here's something shown to have these benefits. They found using it just 10 minutes a day could cut stress by 14% in a month and improve focus by nearly 30%. It really gives a structured but still gentle way into mindfulness.
14% stress reduction is noticeable. Okay, then there's WISA, another AI assistant, seems like, also with some strong clinical nods. How does WISA work for that kind of on-demand support?
Yeah, WISA uses this little AI penguin character, which sounds a bit quirky, but it combines that with over 150 evidence-based tools for anxiety, depression, stress, sleep, the whole gamut. Like Wobot, it also has that FDA breakthrough device designation. Its real strength is probably its accessibility. You get immediate support anytime through these text chats that are, frankly, surprisingly empathetic for an AI. Research showed a 94% engagement rate on the first session. That says a lot about how well it connects with people right away.
Wow, 94% first session. That's high. Okay, moving to sleep and stress. Calm. Famous for the sleep stories, right? But does it have research jobs too?
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
People know the celebrity voices, but Kaiser Permanente actually did research on it. They found using Calm for 8 weeks led to significant improvements in stress, sleep quality, and just general mental well-being. Its strength is really its breadth, I think. Beyond sleep stories, the meditation library covers anxiety, self-esteem, grief, plus breath work, music designed to calm you down. It's pretty comprehensive for managing stress and winding down.
Right, more than just bedtime stories then. Okay, now this next one sounds like a big deal. Rejoin. It was the first FDA-approved app specifically for depression treatment in 2024. What makes that such a game changer?
Yeah, Rejoin is a major step. It's designed for adults 22 and up who are already taking antidepressant medication. It's prescription only. What it does is combine these sort of brain training exercises with CBT lessons. The idea is it targets the brain's neuroplasticity, its ability to change and form new pathways. Clinical trials show that patients using Rejoin alongside their meds had significantly better improvement in depression symptoms compared to those just on meds alone. So it shows how an app can directly boost traditional treatment.
Prescription only, working with meds. That's definitely different. Okay, next. Talkspace. This one's about getting access to actual therapists, right, from home. How does it compare to seeing someone in person?
Exactly. Talkspace connects you with a licensed therapist, text, audio, video chats. So it offers flexibility that, let's face it, traditional therapy often doesn't have. The key thing here is their focus on research validation. Studies have shown that Talkspace therapy can produce similar outcomes to traditional face-to-face therapy for things like depression and anxiety. So it's really demonstrating that you can deliver high-quality, professional support effectively through digital means.
Okay, good to know the outcomes can be similar. What about Uper? It's known for tracking emotional health and CBT tools, and apparently people stick with it. Why the high engagement?
Yeah, its user engagement is definitely a highlight. A study in JAMA actually ranked Uper #1 for engagement among anxiety and depression apps. That's pretty impressive. And clinical trials showed significant reductions, like 48% in depression and 43% anxiety after just 4 weeks. I think it's the conversational AI again. It delivers personalized support through these short, engaging check-ins. It feels quite natural, almost like you're just texting a supportive friend. Makes it less of a chore.
Number one for engagement. That's telling. Okay, last one on our list, specifically for sleep issues, Summerist. Also FDA approved.
Yes, Somrist is FDA approved specifically for chronic insomnia. It delivers something called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. That's widely seen as the best non-medication treatment for long-term insomnia. This is another prescription-only app. It gives you a structured 6-week program designed to basically retrain your brain and your habits for better sleep. In the clinical trials, users fell asleep about 30 minutes faster on average, and they cut down waking up in the middle of the night by 50%. So it shows how targeted apps can really leverage proven therapies for very specific problems.
Okay, wow. So quite a range there, from general wellness to specific prescription treatments. So clearly, when you pick carefully, these evidence-based apps have some real pluses. You get immediate support literally anytime, right?
Yeah.
Middle of the night, anxiety, weekend stress, it's there. And the cost, way more affordable. Many are under $15 a month compared to, what, $100, $150, even $200 per therapy session sometimes. Plus, there's more privacy, maybe you feel more comfortable. They encourage consistency, that daily practice. They can personalize things based on how you use them, and like that Michigan study showed, they can really bridge gap support while you wait for a therapist, or maybe between sessions. And they help you build skills you can keep using.
Absolutely. Those are all significant advantages. However, and this is really crucial, we have to be clear about the limitations. These apps should complement professional treatment, not replace it, especially if you're dealing with serious mental health conditions. That's vital. And most apps just aren't set up to handle a crisis. If someone is having suicidal thoughts or it's an emergency, an app is not the right tool. That distinction has to be super clear. Then there are practical things. Engagement is a real challenge. Lots of people download these apps, use them for a bit, and then stop. Building that consistent habit can be tough. Privacy concerns are also real. Some apps, maybe not the ones we highlighted, but others. Their data practices can be murky. They might share info with third parties. So checking that privacy policy we mentioned earlier, really important. And, end of the day, AI is impressive, but it's not human. It can't fully replicate that healing connection you get with a real therapist. That human element matters. Plus, just the sheer number of choices out there is overwhelming. For every good evidence-based app, there are probably dozens that haven't been properly tested.
Right. So, knowing all that, the good and the limitations, how do you actually use these things effectively? How do you fit them into your life in a way that helps? Well, first tip, probably start with just one app. Don't try to juggle 3 or 4, you'll just get overwhelmed. Then, try to schedule specific app time. Maybe it's 5 minutes of meditation in the morning or an evening reflection using the app. Make it a routine. Use the tracking features if they have them. See how you're doing over time. Monitor your progress. And consistency really is key, just like exercise, right? Mental health practices work best when you do them regularly, even if it's just for a short time each day. If you are seeing a therapist or doctor, definitely tell them you're using an app. They might be able to help integrate it into your overall care plan. And be honest with yourself. If an app just isn't clicking for you after a few weeks or you don't feel it's helping, it's okay to reassess. Maybe try a different one or a different approach altogether. And remember, these apps work best when they're part of a bigger picture. Good sleep, moving your body, decent nutrition, connecting with actual people. The app is a tool, not the whole solution.
That's perfectly put. This whole digital mental health space is changing so fast. We're getting more sophisticated tools, more research-backed options all the time. And while, yes, no app is going to fully replace the human connection of good therapy, the real key to making these digital tools work for you isn't just grabbing any app off the store. It's about intentionally looking for the ones with that clear scientific proof, that validation we talked about. It's a journey that needs both, really. An evidence-based approach to choosing the tool and a good dose of self-compassion. Recognizing that what works wonders for one person might just not resonate with you. And that's okay.